you're all doing well and staying safe. My name is Karen Lopez, and my topic is mating behavior and choice within beluga whales. Let's start with the taxonomy. They belong to phylum Chordata and the class Mammalia because they are warm-blooded vertebrates that have mammary glands and give birth to live young. What makes the beluga whale unique from other whales is that they do not have a fused vertebrae, which allows them to move their head side to side and up and down. They can also swim backwards, an adaptation that helps prevent death or entrapment in the sea as the ice rapidly changes. They fall under order Cetacea, and their suborder is Odonticeti, meaning toothed whales. Belugas are heterodonts, with conical shaped teeth, and although belugas have teeth, they do not use them to chew, but simply to tear and grab their prey. They are carnivorous, and their diet consists of, but is not limited to, fish, mollusks, and crustaceans. If you refer to the phylogenetic tree on the right, you can see the characteristics of the clade Odontocetes. One of the characteristics is that belugas have a blowhole from which they breathe, and they spend about 5 to 10% of their time near the surface. Beluga whales can also be beneath the surface for up to 25 minutes. The genus species is Delphinopterus leucus, where the first part translates to without wing or fin, and leucus meaning white. Instead of having a dorsal fin, like dolphins do, which can be injured due to heat loss or ice damage, belugas have dorsal ridges. Below is the picture of a beluga whale, and if you notice, it has a bulbous forehead. This is referred to as a melon, which is made up of adipose that surrounds its sinuses. They can change the shape of their melons in order to focus their sounds towards a specific direction. I will then discuss the melon more in the following slides. There are many questions that refer to the beluga whale's extinction status. As many populations, there are subpopulations. Some belugas are genetically and geographically isolated and are considered endangered. Fortunately, most found in the Arctic regions are not endangered, but they are near threatened. Back then, belugas were hunted by poachers or nearby villagers as a source of food and for their blubber. But as many other organisms in the food chain, belugas have predators, and their main predators are polar bears and orcas. Most die of natural causes though, such as getting stuck between the ice sheets. But now, climate change is taking a toll on these Arctic creatures, causing crucial environmental changes. Another factor is pollution, because the food they feed on may be contaminated with chemicals and heavy metals. Belugas are often found in the Arctic and subarctic regions, but also in shallow coastal waters near the ice edge, and sometimes rivers. They have blubber, a thick layer of fat about 4 inches thick, that insulates them and allows them to live in waters as low as 0 degrees Celsius. They also store excess blubber on their sides, and they look like indents. These are known as rails. Belugas travel in groups of 10 or more, also known as pods. Before the sea begins to freeze, the belugas migrate southward. An interesting fact is that beluga whale pods are separated by sex and age, males, females, and females along with their calves. If you recall the melon from the previous slides, it helps with echolocation. Echolocation is a biological sonar that allows beluga whales to detect prey, other whales, how deep they must dive, and even predators. Along with the melon, belugas communicate through clicks and chirps and can change the frequencies of its clicks. Because of this, beluga whales are also known as canaries of the sea. Adult females give birth to calves which are born gray, sometimes brown, that eventually fade into white once they sexually mature. The average lifespan of a beluga whale is 35 to 50 years in the wild, but they vary from one study to another. and they sometimes live up to 30 years when held in captivity. They are sexually dimorphic, where the male is slightly bigger than the female. An adult male can grow 13 to 20 feet in length, weighing 3,000 to 4,000 pounds. Here we have a picture, and if you take a look, you can see what is labeled the urogenital groove located right above the tail. The reproductive organ can be found within, and it takes a male beluga 7 to 9 years to sexually mature. An adult female is slightly smaller than the male, growing 9 to 12 feet in length and weighing 2,000 to 3,000 pounds. It takes 4 to 7 years for a female beluga to sexually mature, whereas the male takes a bit longer. If you recall the diagram from the previous slides, the female also has a urogenital groove, where her reproductive organ is located. They can be distinguished by their mammillary grooves, which are found on both sides of the urogenital openings. Female belugas are able to reproduce every 2 to 3 years, giving birth to only one calf. They stop reproducing once they reach their early 20s. The reproductive cycle for beluga whales is strictly seasonal, although it varies between regions, and it occurs in late February up to early May in warm waters. These whales have a polygynous mating system where there is one male and multiple females. If you have ever been to SeaWorld or an aquarium, you probably have ran into the Arctic section. As far as I know and experience, most of their beluga whales are of the same sex, but some belugas are of the opposite sex. Unlike the wild, there are a limited number of male and female mates, which can cause tension between the two whales if the female doesn't find the male attractive. Breeding in these captive and enclosed places can cause early deaths, and some of the causes are premature births or inbreeding. Most aquariums use artificial insemination, where the sperm is inserted directly into the female's uterus. Their sexual selection is intersexual, where members of one sex choose their mate of the opposite sex based off their characteristics, but sexual dimorphism is involved also. In this case, males sing and make noises while following the female, trying to serenade her. They then throw and bend their tail vigorously while moving their heads side to side. It is proving to the female that they are strong and have a higher fitness than the competing males. If another male attempts to mate with the female, it will shake its melon to ward them off. The two whales then begin to swim harmoniously while caressing each other. In the end, the female makes the choice once she starts pressing her belly against his, only mating with absolute consent. Once internal fertilization occurs, the female beluga is then pregnant, and the gestation period can last up to 14 months. It is said that the adult female may experience delayed implantation. The mother then goes through labor for about 8 hours. Baby calves are born between the months of May and July near rivers where the water is 10 degrees warmer. Since calves lack blubber at birth, they instead have a thick layer of skin, and that compensates for the blubber. When their first layer of blubber comes in, the calves then shed their older skin. The average weight of a calf is 120 to 140 pounds and 4 to 5 feet in length. Mothers have what is called a contact call, which are pulsed vocalizations that are associated with bonding between them and their calf. In the wild, there is a female nursemaid who stays in the area to help mothers with their young. The calf then feeds through the mammillary grooves, rolling through their tongues to make a straw. They are dependent on the mother's milk for about 6 to 12 months, until they are able to eat solid foods. Even so, females are known to lactate for about 1.5 years. As most mammals, mothers care for their young until they are able to be independent. The father is not involved with the care after the calf is born. The mothers help and show the calf how to survive, and once the calf is able to be independent, it can then care for itself and continue the life cycle of the belugas. Here are some references that I used for my presentation. I hope you guys enjoyed my presentation and learned something new. Have a good day.